Hey there and welcome. You know, we're all on this journey, right? We're all chasing after something we call the good life. But what on earth does that actually mean? Today, we're going to try to strip away all the noise and get to the heart of what it really takes to build a life that feels genuinely good.
This is it. This is the big one. It's the question that everyone, from ancient philosophers to you and me, has wrestled with. What's the secret sauce? Is it about the money, finding the perfect person, landing that dream job? We're often told it's some complicated mix, but what if the real answer is way, way simpler?
And right there, that's the paradox we're going to unpack. The basic ingredients for a good life, they're actually pretty straightforward. The complicated part, well, that comes from us. It comes from our own minds, our culture, and all the stories we've been telling ourselves for a very long time.
So let's start at square one. Before we can even touch on things like fulfillment or happiness, we have to get real about the fundamentals. What does a human being actually need to just be okay?
You've probably seen a version of this before, right? It's based on Maslow's hierarchy. The first three are what you could call deficiency needs. You really notice them when they're gone, like feeling hungry or unsafe or totally alone. But that fourth step, that's where the good life really starts to cook. These are the growth needs, our deep-seated desire to learn, to matter, and to stretch into the best possible versions of ourselves.
Okay, so if the needs are that clear, why is actually living a good life so darn hard? Well, this is where we tend to trip over our own feet. We humans have this incredible talent for making simple things really complex.
Let's take money. Notice how it wasn't on that fundamental needs list? That's because money, by itself, is worthless. It's just paper or pixels. The problem is we confuse it with what it represents, things like security, status, or freedom. We start chasing the symbol instead of the actual need it's supposed to help us meet.
And it's not just money. Think about relationships. What starts as a basic, biological need for connection gets tangled up in layers of emotional intimacy, social rules, our own psychology, you name it. It's a perfect example of how we take something simple and wrap it in 1,000 layers of meaning, creating a whole lot of confusion along the way.
So this is really the heart of the matter, this distinction right here. On one side, you have the fundamental, unchanging human needs, security, connection, growth. But on the other, you have the specific wants we often chase instead, a certain bank balance, getting a lot of likes online, or winning a particular award. We mistake the want for the need, and that right there is how we get lost.
And this tangled mess? Well, it's pretty much our default setting as humans. We're constantly getting our wires crossed between what we actually need and what we've been taught to want. Our goals get hijacked by fear or some fleeting desire, and we get so wrapped up in the drama playing out in our heads that we think it's the real world. This state of confusion is just not the road to a good life.
But hey, we are not the first people to struggle with this stuff, not by a long shot. So let's reach back into the past for some guidance. A little guy named Aristotle had a few things to say on the subject. See, Aristotle didn't really talk about happiness the way we do, like it's just a smiley feeling that comes and goes. He talked about eudaimonia. A better translation is something like human flourishing. It's not a mood. It's a state of deep well-being you build over a whole lifetime by living with purpose and integrity.
And he gave us a little test to find it. He said the highest good is the one thing you want just for its own sake, not as a stepping stone to something else. As you can see here, pretty much everything else we want, money, friends, knowledge, we want it because we believe it'll lead us to that one ultimate goal, a flourishing life.
Now here's where it gets really interesting. Aristotle, this giant of logic and reason, basically said, you also need a little bit of luck. He called it good fortune. You can be the best person in the world, he argued, but some things are just completely out of your hands.
But does that mean we just sit around waiting for luck to strike? I love this quote because it completely flips that idea on its head. It suggests that by working hard, by being prepared, by living well, you basically make yourself a bigger target for good fortune to hit. You start to make your own luck.
And this is such a powerful idea to hang on to. Yeah, bad luck is real. It happens and it can make life incredibly hard. But your response, your ability to hold on to your dignity and find some kind of meaning in the struggle, that is always yours. Circumstances don't get the final vote. You do.
So if the path to a good life is really an inside job, what's the biggest obstacle we face? It's the non-stop chatter from the outside world, constantly telling us what our lives are supposed to look like. Okay, this one might be a little tough to swallow, but it's so important. The goals that society shouts at us, the stuff we scroll past on social media, see in the movies, hear in ads, more often than not, they are a total distraction from real, lasting well-being.
And the crazy thing is, these messages aren't just wrong, they're completely contradictory. On one hand, society screams, get rich, be powerful, get famous. But then on the other, it whispers, practice gratitude, find joy in the simple things. It's no wonder we all feel like we're failing no matter what we do.
And these are the scripts we're handed. Maybe you recognize the one you've been trying to follow. It's not that these things are inherently bad, but when we chase them without question, they become a huge distraction. They're pre-written stories that stop us from asking the most important question: what do I actually want?
All right, so we've looked at the confusion, we've spotted the traps. Now for the really good part. How do we actually start building a life that is unscripted, that is authentic, that is ours?
This right here is your toolkit. This is the practical path. It all starts with just reflecting, taking an honest inventory of what you're currently chasing. Then you sort through it all. Is this goal really mine, or is it something I picked up somewhere? From there, you have to get brave and question your deepest beliefs about happiness. That leads to the toughest step, letting go of the fairy tales. And only then, from that clear, honest place, can you start building a life that truly fits you.
And you know what? This process can feel like a real struggle sometimes. Breaking old habits and beliefs always does, but that struggle is exactly what builds the strength you need. The point isn't just to get out of the box, it's to emerge completely transformed, finally ready to fly on your own terms.
And in the end, it really all comes down to this simple but incredibly powerful idea. The past is over. The future isn't real yet. The good life isn't a prize you win at the finish line. It's something you create, choice by choice, in this very moment. Your power is always right now.
So I'll just leave you with this. Don't try to figure out your whole life tonight. Just start with one thing. What is one belief you have about what will make you happy? Just one. And what if it isn't true? Your own unscripted life begins the moment you ask that question. Thanks so much for joining.